I'm on the floor at AES 2006 in San Francisco talking with Wes Dooley of AEA. How are you?
Fine.
Tell me a little bit about the Ribbon Pre.
Ribbon Pre is a one of a kind. It was designed to only be used for ribbon, moving coil, or tube mics that neither want nor need phantom power. It's a direct coupled circuit. It's JFET, designed by Fred Fursell. Faster than hell. It goes out to 300 kilohertz because it's a JFET. It doesn't have any problems with RF, so you can have that sort of speed, which allows you to do 192 kilohertz recording if you want to and actually preserve the waveforms. It is DC coupled on the inputs. So we don't need any of that extra plumbing that you use, the blocking capacitors and such for a condenser mic. And as a result, it's very good in the bass, very much like the AEA Ribbon mics, which we tuned down to 16.5 hertz, so they actually have subwoofer bass. And they have some Zener diodes in it to protect it from accidental, phantom power. Phantom power, of course, was that new invention that disappears, is not there at all if the cables are in great shape, and if you have a bad cable and you put phantom power on a ribbon mic, it tries to be a subwoofer, and they're not good subwoofers, although we all know there are just fine ribbon tweeters. So we just looked at it. I was lucky enough to be up in the Idaho Panhandle visiting family, and I went up to see Fred Fursell, who did the twin topology stuff for millennia. He's done a lot of really great stuff, was in charge of the studios and the sound reinforcement for Jackson Browne, and does a lot of bluegrass recording and mastering of his own, so he listens a lot. And we got to talking about, well, could we do a mic for married guys, you know? Well, we've done that. He wound up with one of our 84s and then later our stereo mic. And so the next question was, well, could we do a reasonably inexpensive, $1,000 microphone preamp that was specifically for ribbon mics? It has 83.5 dB of gain. It's quiet. It has balanced and unbalanced out simultaneously, so whatever you need to plug into, there's an XLR and a 1/4 inch, so you can go there. And the end result is that we built them 15 at a time, been released since the AES in Paris in May. We wound up with people telling us that they liked it. We had people like Sean Murphy, who does all of John Williams' recording. He ordered 4 of them. We had another scoring mixer, Dennis Sands, ordered 2. We had people like Dan Workman of Sugar Hill down in Houston buy one at Tape Op to use with Old Time Hammer. And people just kept saying, yeah, you got it right. Well, actually, Fred got it right, and we were the people willing to fund it and get into it and make a really simple version, because our introductory price is on it's $835. It's probably going to go up to about $975 later in this year. Yeah, we have a company policy that whenever we introduce a product, we try to make the introductory price lower. Our the big mic, the 44 that we introduced here in '98, that was a $2,000 microphone when we first introduced it. Now it's devilishly hard to build. It's 8 pounds of weight. It was something originally we just did as an adjunct to our service department because we've been servicing ribbon mics for 30 years. And most of our design knowledge comes from hanging out with the original RCA guys like John Sank and asking people about their ribbon mics, which ones they like the sound of best. And so we've been able to combine qualities that people like best and say, okay, this is a good one. Let's use that aspect of it. Now, you had some specific questions, because it's gotten to the point now that you can buy a ribbon mic at every price point. If you can order a SM57 and pay the $100, you can also probably find someone for similar money, $150, $200, will sell you a ribbon mic. And that's really a good thing, because it gets people a chance to hear what we're talking about when we say ribbons can be very good. The downside of ribbons that I have tried, because we buy and try ribbons all the time, is that, as the founder of Tannoy said, making one speaker on your kitchen table that sounds good, that's fairly straightforward. Making 1,000 of them that all sound the same, that's really hard.
Now, do you think that innovations like the Ribbon Pre are driving the trend towards more inexpensive ribbon mics, or is this a result of the industry changing and the state of the ribbon mic industry going towards more affordable solutions for people in home studios and things like that?
Well, the Ribbon Pre exists simply because we know a fair amount about the interaction between microphones and microphone preamps, starting with our 1985 380 TX that we bought parts for building 50, built 50, sold them for about $1,800 a piece. Everybody said, $1,800 for 2 channels of mic pre? And we said, okay, we won't do that anymore. Now, there's one up in the piano recital room at Bill Gates' mansion, and there's people like Ron Stryker own 3 of them. WGBH uses them. Everybody who has them really likes them. And now people seem to think $2,000 for 2 channels is fairly inexpensive. But in '85, that wasn't what was happening. So what we have here is, we looked at it, so many people ask for something to get the best out of their mic, and we said, well, we know how to do that, and we're talking to enough people that, yeah, so we built 15 of them. And we put those prototypes around, and people said, this is pretty good. And it got used on things like X-Men 3, on Memoirs of a Geisha, on Invincible. And so we actually, at the, after showing them a year ago, just one saying, here, is anybody interested? We went from there to actually delivering production at the Paris AES. Now we bought the parts to do a run of 100 because it's very clear to us that people like the sound of the preamp. And our rule of thumb is we try to build stuff for married guys, that at the end of the month your wife isn't too mad at you. So with this time around, we just did a minimalist, no MS stereo matrix, no Jensen's in and out. Plus there's some real advantages of losing the iron for something that's as fast as a ribbon mic, because ribbon mics done well are extremely responsive. They move, then they stop. They don't store any energy at high frequencies like a large diaphragm condenser does, which has some very high Q resonances in the 8 to 12 kilohertz region, which is why it can be such a difficult thing when you happen to run a vocalist who has some sibilant problems into a U47. And as one friend said when he bought one of our mics, I bought it for the EQ, and I went, there's no EQ. And he said, no, it's that I can make it sound like a 47 if I want to add some high Q resonances. It has that really articulate mid-range that I like at a U47, but I can put it with a vocalist. If I want it smooth, I can have it smooth. If I want it to sound like something else, if I just want to bring the high end up in general but not making it sound screechy, that's all my choice. So I bought it for the EQ, Wes. We always ask people why they buy something, because that gets us more on target for the next design we do. Because yes, it's fun to make things, but it's even more fun to make things that people use.
Well, thank you very much. We're on the floor of AES 2006. I'm Joe Wallace for Gearwire.com.